Hey, buddy, Lulu, come on up here. Come on up here. Good, good. They're not on their leash, but they're pretty good at staying close. Okay. And I think even though I can't see my phone, I can see my comments, and looks like one person's watched. So I'm gonna let this stay open for just a couple more seconds, and then I'll move to the table so you can see what I'm working on. I've experimented with a little bit of live video, but not a whole lot. But with this new social distancing, it's becoming a lot more useful than it used to be, since we can't hang out in person. Hey Mark, thanks for the thumbs up. Cool. Alright, so now I can see comments and activity while I'm working. So I feel pretty technologically sophisticated. Thanks to my friend Polly for giving me this idea. Hey Polly, how's it going? Are doing okay over there in Louisville. I know having a family that works in the medical industry, that's probably a little more nervous for you than a lot of us, who all we have to do is stay home. Okay, I'm going to move the camera so you can see what I'm doing on the table. I'm going to start a brand new woodcut, and just give me a second. I'm going to grab the camera and I'll be right back. Okay. So there's Buddy and Lulubelle. They're being good. Okay, so here's the porch. Our weather's been pretty good. So instead of doing my social distancing from the house, I'm going to social distance from the front porch. All right. I think this might be the best angle to see what I'm working on. All right. Let me know if you want me to get a little closer to the woodcut. I need to move my tripod just a little bit so I can sit down. Hopefully this isn't making you all seasick. Okay, so, and let me make sure I still have my dogs. Buddy, come on up here. Okay, so for today's project, I'm going to start a new woodcut. I've been working on a series of woodcuts of bunny rabbits doing different household chores. So, I have a bunny here that is sweeping. And I can't tell if you can see that or not. There's a little bit of a delay, but hopefully you can. Here's a bunny that's sweeping, and the companion to it is another bunny that is doing laundry. And today's woodcut is going to be a bunny that is working in the garden. And he's inspired by my friend Simon, who's a really good gardener. And he's been staying busy doing chores in his house. So I've drawn my design on this block of wood. This is a composite wood. It's not really like a block of wood from a tree, but it's more like paper made out of wood. What I like about it, it doesn't have any kind of wood grain. So what I could do is I could cut in different directions without getting hung up on the direction of the wood. I could just do the creative work. And sometimes I like real wood with the grain. Other times I like this wood composite. I have a lot around my studio, and that's why I'm using it. So I'm going to put this down. I'm looking at the comments and not doing a very good job at showing you what I'm working on, but with the woodcuts, I like to use different knives. My favorite knives are these Japanese power grip wood carving tools. They're not very expensive, and they stay pretty sharp. You do have to learn how to sharpen them, which took me a little while to figure out, but they're great little knives. They come in all sorts of shapes that you could use to make different kinds of marks. One of my favorite is just this little U shape. And let's see, I think before I get into the bunny, I'd like to carve some cloud shapes that look like it would match the cloud shapes in this print or this print. I want it to look like a set, so I'm going to try to use a lot of similar components. And back here I'm going to cut some clouds, and I'll do that with this little gouge. Hello, hi Kay, or hola Kay. Kay's my friend. We study Spanish together, so I feel silly speaking to her in English. Alright, if you have any questions, feel free to ask. I'll do my best to explain what I'm doing. I think you could see this. If you can't, just holler and I can move the camera around. What's fun about printmaking, what's different from some of the other arts, instead of using a paintbrush to add marks, I'm going to carve, and everything I take away, how do you explain it? It's kind of like the opposite of making a mark. You're going to cut, and remove areas where ink touches the paper. And carving has a real unique look you can't really get by drawing or by painting. I know that a lot of digital artists want to work digitally but make it look like it was handmade, and they'll do some tricks with computers to make it look kind of like a woodcut or a hand done screen print. But as good as computers are, even with those little tricks, there are some things that you just have to do a real woodcut to get that look. So you see how I'm sort of outlining where that background is going to be before I get in and do any of the clouds. Keep carving. I had some music playing on the speaker back here, but I think when I turned Facebook on my iPad, the music disappeared. Which maybe that's for the better, because whenever I have music, Facebook mutes the video after the fact because of copyright, and I understand, but I always listen to music while I work, so it feels a little weird sitting by myself on the porch talking to you all without any tunes. Okay, so I've got a pretty good outline of clouds. I like this swirling shape, so I'm going to just pencil in a little bit how I'd like to cut and make the shape that kind of gives you a feeling of clouds. Now I'll go in and just follow that mark I made. A lot of you have probably done some kind of activity like this in elementary school, middle school, or high school. The principle isn't much different than what you did then. Maybe the materials are a little bit different, but it's a pretty basic idea. And like most of the arts, you learn some basics, and then you just keep doing it over and over and over, and get a little more nuanced and detailed, and you could just kind of do something simple and fun, or you could really get sophisticated and do real complex things with that simple idea. Well, hey, Barbara Boone, you're here? You're here in Kentucky? I hope you're here. I always loved living in a small town, particularly Old Washington in Kentucky. And during times where we have to be quarantined or there's a crisis, I think it's even nicer to be in a small town. I think that not only do we have more space, so I don't feel as cooped up as somebody who might live in an apartment, but I also think the connection between people are a little closer in small towns. So we just look out for each other a little differently. And I know people are close in the city, and I have good friends in the city, but there's something special about a small town. Oh, good. I'm glad you're home and safe. I worry a little bit about where you were. I think there's an awful lot of people, and I get the impression they're not social distancing like they should be. And there's no place like home, especially in spring. Oh, thanks, Jeff. I try to keep it up. But you see, when I get this wood composite, this is the color of the wood, and I'll take a little bit of acrylic paint and put a real light coat of acrylic over the wood. And as I cut, it helps me to see what's happening with my woodcut. For example, if I cut here, I can't really see the cuts and the contrast very well because the surface is the same color as the wood underneath it. And painting the top a different color gives you more contrast, and it's one of those little tricks that has really helped me out with my woodcuts. And I'm going to share that trick with you. Now you know. And depending on your style, the way you like to work, you might like to try that sometime. So I'm not sure how interesting this is for you all to just watch me cutting wood. It's interesting for me because my brain's doing a little bit of problem solving and all, but I'll admit I do like watching artists when they work. I'll usually learn something. Everybody does their craft a little bit different, and it's interesting to watch the way that people create. Okay, can you all still see? I'm going to change the camera so you can see just a little bit closer. That might be more interesting for you. Let's see. Hopefully you don't get seasick. Sorry about this. Let's see. How can I get closer? Well, this might be as close as I can get. Barbara, I did draw the pattern on first, so at this point it's not exactly like a coloring book, but the hard composition work is done, and now I'm just cutting away. And I've got to say, I'm always proud of Kentucky, but I'm particularly proud about Kentucky as far as their response to this crisis. I think it's interesting that our state motto is united we stand, divided we fall. And I think when it comes down to hard times, Kentuckians know how to come together, and we really look out for each other. And I live in Kentucky by choice. I love being here, and the people of Kentucky are a big reason why just that spirit of united we stand. I'm not sure I'm seeing the questions in the sequence as they come in, but I'm trying to answer any. If you've asked something and I didn't respond, feel free to ask again. Let's see, I think I'm ready to start carving on this side of the bunny. So want to be careful and not cut his ear away. I need to yell at my dog real quick and make sure he's staying on the porch. Buddy, come here. Buddy. Where's Buddy? Come on up here. Good boy. Good boy. Come here. You're a good boy. Okay. And you're a good girl, Lulu, because you never left. All right. Okay, back to the clouds. I don't know about you all, I'm ready to get into the garden. I try to eat as much fresh fruits and vegetables as I can. I think this will be a good year to do the garden. So what are you all up to? How are you all keeping busy? Hopefully you are social distancing and you're not going to the disco or anything like that to entertain yourselves. Let's see. If you're just tuning in, I'm working on a woodcut. I've got a series of bunny rabbits doing different chores. You can see them up here. I've got a bunny rabbit sweeping and a bunny rabbit hanging laundry, and today's bunny rabbit is going to be working in the garden. And I was curious, what are you all doing? I'm sure you're doing chores and your houses all look great. But how are you all keeping busy? All right. If you've noticed, I haven't changed knives at all the whole time I'm... Oh, good. You know what? I see there are comments and I need to click a couple buttons to see them all. Greta's eating healthy dark chocolate. That, you know what? Chocolate is the best medicine. It will pretty much cure anything. Did Molly's glazing her last class mugs and tumblers. Well, that's exciting. That's the most exciting part of pottery. When you get to, you work for 2 weeks, and when you get to the glazing point, you're so close to seeing what would you call it, the fruits of all that labor. Well, I hope the kiln gods are very good to you and your class students. And I'm sure with you as a teacher, they will be. Facebook, yes, I'm on Facebook a lot more than I normally am. I'm on Facebook more than normal. Even though I can't visit my friends in person, it's nice to feel connected and just make sure everybody's doing okay. The bunnies are working in the garden. They're planting the seeds so that they'll have food to eat later, once everything grows. I was going to make the illustration carrots, but the little bit I know about gardening, you wouldn't plant carrot plants. You just plant the seed and let the root go down. So I'm not sure what it's planting. It's just some green leaves, probably flowers. So they might not eat any of this. This is just making the neighborhood pretty. Okay, so I've got a tree here. I want to cut around the tree. Greta, I don't know if you were listening when I was talking earlier, but I'm doing the idea you suggested of using my iPad to read questions while I'm working, and it's so far working great. I don't have to get up and check the camera, and it just kind of flows with the way I'm working a lot better. See, I'll hold this up a little closer if you want to see some of the detail in the clouds. Well, there's my mom. Hey there. Hey, Robert. Well, there's a good friend who's a printmaker. How are you doing? How are you doing? Oh, let me hold this a little bit lower. The way my comments come in are kind of funny. I'm not sure I'm catching everybody, but if I don't answer to you, I'm sorry. I'm trying not to be rude. But you know us artists, we're kind of socially awkward anyway. Right, now this is supposed to be a fence. Okay, so I might do a little more work to the clouds, but I've got the big stuff more or less carved out. Sometimes I need to just stand back and look at what I'm working on and think about what I want to do next. So that's what I'm doing right now. I feel like the cut here on this house might not have been what I might want to cut that a little bit different. I've got to yell at Buddy again. He's so snoopy. Buddy, come on up here. Stay on the porch. Good boy. All right. I'm trying to decide whether the leaves of the plant should be light leaves on a dark background. The bunny's going to be dark, so I feel like I'd get good contrast if these plants were light colored, but when I get here, I'm not sure what I'll do. I thought for the soil, to make it look like soil, I might just cut little dots. So the majority of the soil would be black. Okay, in that case, the plants will look best white. And I'm going to switch knives. Oh, you all busted me. I'm looking at Facebook instead of working. Sometimes that happens. Hey Judith, I'm getting so technical. Love that you're sharing how your work progresses. Well, that's, you know me well enough. I love to learn things, and then I love to show people what I learn. And I'm always learning. And I hate to say this, I probably always learn the hard way. I know people a lot smarter than me that will listen to expert advice, and then they pick something right up, but I always have to figure it out myself. I want to learn the hard way. So I'm thinking for these plants, I'd like to show the little veins of the plant. Actually, I'm looking at the companion pieces, and I want them all to look like a set. So I'm going to switch knives, and instead of using a little itty bitty knife, I'm going to use the big knife. I just discovered some cool marks. I like that. I like this style of cutting. Isn't that neat? It looks real handmade and carved, but it looks like a leaf. It is a great day to be out. Judith, I am putting your dust bunny and your laundry bunny together, and you know what? I might wait and send you a garden bunny also as a gift, because you've been so nice to support my work for all of these years. So we'll see. If you don't mind waiting, it'll take a day to print and then a couple days to dry. I feel like the three should go together. It's not exactly a triptych, but so what do you all think of this pattern? Does that look like a plant to you? Like a freshly planted flower or something? I think I'm happy with those leaves, so I'm going to do that for all of the plants in this woodcut. Let's see. Hey, you know what? A friend just stopped by, and I'm worried my dogs might come to see him. I'm gonna turn this off. Hopefully y'all are having a good day, and I'll check in and let you know how the woodcut goes. So you all take care of yourselves. Bye-bye. Well,